up in this piece.
What is that hanging in the air? Is that from your vape?
Yeah, probably.
I didn't think it did that.
Yeah, it's not as toxic as those cigarettes, though. Welcome to Ashtray Candy Pod 7.
7.
Been a long time coming. Here we are again, though.
Back again.
Back at you.
Tag team back again. Who did that?
What? Tag team back again.
Was that Belle Biv DeVoe or something like that?
Motown Philly back again.
Yeah.
But
Belle Biv DeVoe. It was Belle Biv DeVoe.
I think it was, yeah.
Because they'd said that in the song. Belle Biv DeVoe. They had to say their name. You remember? They did it like that.
I remember that,
though. Yeah.
You remember some of the music back in the day, though, when it'd be like, mount up.
Regulators, mount up. Well, another song that just... Who Let the Dogs Out? That shit was annoying as hell.
Oh, yeah.
Because they didn't do anything. All they said was, who let the dogs out? Who? And they just repeated that for 5 minutes. And I was like, what the fuck?
It was like the Macarena. Remember that?
Horrible.
Macarena.
And they'd be saying all these girls' names. Jenny, Vanessa, Macarena.
That's all it was.
There was another one that there was 2 different versions. You remember Whoop? There it is. And then, wasn't there Whoop? And then Womp?
I don't know about that.
There was like Whoop or Oop. There was 2 different versions. Like Whoop, there it is. Whoop. And then there was another one that was like Whoop, there it is. Instead of Oop or Whoop. I don't remember. There was 2 different versions.
Well, and then you remember the snow. A Nicky Boom Boom
Down.
Nicky Boom Boom Down. What the hell was that?
That was a one-hit wonder. It was. Do you remember how popular it was?
Yeah.
We were in like what 8th, 9th grade when that shit came out. And I remember people in our school was like, "Yeah, man." I remember Quinn Shaker. He was trying to memorize it. He couldn't get it all, but I remember we would talk about it in one of our like history class. He'd be like, "Nicky Boom Boom Down." It's like that. That song got old.
Remember that? Get down with OPP.
Get down with OPP. Yeah, you know me. Man. Yeah, I knew a kid got in trouble because he wore a hat to school that said OPP. That's all it said.
Was OPP other people's property or
That's
other
what
people's
I would think,
privates or what the hell?
That's the thing. It was.
What the hell was OPP? Let us know in the chat.
Yeah, because I got both explanations. Some people did say it meant other people's property, but because of what the song was actually saying, other people's pussy was one of them.
Jesus.
Other people's, like you said, privates.
It couldn't have been that.
Penis.
Not everyone has.
But that's why they would put the kind of, maybe it was privates, and it meant penis and pussy, because they both start with P.
I think it was other people's privates.
That's what I thought. But then I also thought other people's property. I don't know. But yeah, this kid, man, wore this hat to school, and all it did is said OPP. Teacher's like, nope, take that off. He's like, what? It just says OPP. And he said, that's all it said. It didn't actually say anything. It just had 3 letters. And I remember him saying, just 3 letters. Like, no, you got to take that off and give it to me. You know, they take the hat from him. You get it back at the end of the day. Don't bring it. Don't wear it to school again.
You know, the teachers didn't know what it meant, though.
No, I think that's why they just didn't know what to do. It could mean pussy, but I'm not
what
sure.
What if it means private?
Yeah,
take it away from him, regardless.
Property, yeah, just give me that hat. Man, I had a teacher in high school tell me, because it was picture day, I wore this shirt, just a regular old, remember them baseball shirts where it's just white, but the sleeves are like red or black around the collar. Well, I wrote stupid on it with the magic marker and had an arrow pointing up.
Yeah.
I thought it was funny. I can't remember. I've seen it somewhere, but I thought it was funny.
Wear it for the year.
And I was going to wear it for the school pictures. And the vice principal, female, I can't remember her name, FC. She saw me walking in the hallway with that, and no, we're going to change your shirt. I said, no, I'm not, because I didn't bring another one. She said, well, I'll go find one lost I found. She was like upset at me for wearing that. And she said the same thing you did. Why would you do that? What is it? You're not stupid. And I was like, well, I thought it was funny. She's like, you're better than that.
Wow.
You're not stupid. And she thought maybe I was having an existential crisis or something. I was like, oh, I'm so dumb. I just was trying to be funny in my head. I ended up skipping the pictures anyway, so.
Man.
I never actually had a yearbook photo in high school because I skipped every time. Time to go get your photo. Oh, it is? Well, I'm getting in my car and going home. See you. Bye. Because he give you a pass, here's a pass to go into the hallway.
Yearbook with you in it, though.
Yeah, when I was younger.
Yeah,
but when I hit
like
FC,
8th grade for me.
yeah, I had all those. But when I went to FC after Warren, I was in a Warren yearbook. But when I went to FC, every time it was time to take pictures, I would cut out. I'd leave. The only pictures I remember being in was I snuck in. They were having all these clubs in the gymnasium. They're doing pictures for like drama club, chess club, glee club, all the different clubs.
Yeah.
I snuck in as many as I could and just sat in the bleachers with them. So when you go through the old yearbook, I'm in like 5 different clubs, just sitting
but
there.
You never really
never was in any of them. My name's not even on there because I didn't sign the sheet.
Did they just not recognize you?
There were so many kids walking around, going to different parts of the bleachers. Nobody did. They just were trying to take the pictures as soon as they could. Math club, chess club, glee club. I was in none of those clubs. But you go back in the yearbook, and I'm just hanging out in like 5 different clubs, just sitting there. It was back when I had my long hair and ponytail.
Damn.
Looking like I was old HBK back then.
Sweet Chin and Ollie clubs. The chess club, the glee club, the debate club.
I didn't ever have the actual regular photo. Like, this is, a close-up of me. Never had one. Just never took it. Yeah, they would always say, if you go into the back, you find the names.
Yeah.
It would say, Trey Davis, not pictured. For like 3 straight years, not pictured, not pictured. It's like, yeah, I'm just not there. That's why they called me the Phantom of Franklin Central, because it was like I was there,
but you
nobody
weren't.
could ever find me. No. Either I was skipping or hiding somewhere or smoking cigs in the bathroom. Yeah. My nephew did something to my PlayStation, because when I told him I took it back home and it wasn't working, he got real quiet. And I was like, he's the only other one that uses it. And I don't know if it fell, maybe, or he pulled the cord and it fell, because there's a lot of times he gets so into it, and sometimes he's yanked the cord to where it kind of does almost wobble off the edge, and I'm like, whoa. Yeah. I was like, if that falls, Stefan, I was like, that's the only thing I have that's worth any money. I don't have anything else. I have a TV at my house, but I don't have guitar or anything anymore.
Well, if it fell off of the thing and landed on the front face of it.
It felt a little wobbly, like not broken, but it just felt different. Like, I don't know. Anyway, yeah, but I asked him, and he just got real quiet. He's like, I don't know. And now he's like, well, just bring it over and let me look at it. Like he's some,
he's going to fix it.
He's going to fix it. And I was like, Stefan, it's just not working at all. And I was like, even if you can get it to turn on now, I said, my controller doesn't work. So something's going on. My controller's broken. The system's not working. I was like, even if you get it turned on, you can't do anything with no controller.
Right. When I was a kid, I got so mad. This was an Atari.
I used to do the Atari, and the Nintendo controllers. I would throw those.
You got violent with it too.
Yeah, I would throw them. Now we're talking the old tube TVs. Remember the TVs? Now everything's flat screen now. Yeah. But back then it was the tube. These big square, and they were pretty sturdy, man. I would throw my controller like directly at the screen. I'd be like, and it'd be like, boink, it would just clonk off. But yeah, you can put a big, dent in the controller. Because those TVs were heavy, man.
Well, you remember the old Atari controllers that just had one button and a joystick.
Button, yeah.
I actually got so mad at a game one time. This was Atari. It's not like it was cutting edge stuff. At that time, it was
Pitfall. You're like, damn, Pitfall.
Something like that. I couldn't get past this level, and I just got so angry that I bit the joystick, and I was like,
did you rip the rubber?
I ripped it all off, and it was just a white
little stick underneath.
Plastic stick underneath, and I had to use that because I messed it up.
It still worked, but yeah, you got mad and you ripped that off.
I'd be so mad at those games, man.
I would too. It's weird. I didn't do that. I mean, I would get, we would get upset even back in the day playing them wrestling games on Nintendo 64. I threw it down and hit that ashtray. I didn't mean to hit the ashtray, but I didn't mean to hit it. But I remember you were like, "Oh my god," you thought I did it on purpose. I really didn't, but I was throwing my controller down, but I didn't mean to hit the thing.
I remember one time I was playing, and my dad was right there in the living room and everything. Me and my sister were playing Gauntlet or something, and I got so shitty at it, dude. I was like, "Eat me!" And he didn't understand what I said. He said, "What'd you say?" He was like, "Ribbit." He's
Rib me.
Ribbit. So that was an ongoing joke between me and my sister.
I remember you saying that. That's funny. Well, speaking of Pitfall, did you know that's the only Atari game that never had an ending? There was no ending.
Yeah, none of them had endings.
When I started to think about Pitfall, Think about that. Yeah, there was no. It was just. It just kept going.
It was all
going,
point systems.
Going. Yeah.
You had to go by who got the highest points and shit back then, because there was no great endings to those games.
Pitfall was a fun game, but if you think about it, very simple. You just swing on a vine over a lake. Don't get eaten by the alligator. Or hit by the snake or the scorpion. That was about it.
That's the thing. Ladders. Something about the scorpion on the bottom level. Mm-hmm. That thing always fascinated me because I was like, is he supposed to be there? Like, why would they put a scorpion there? Because it was huge in comparison to the little guy.
It was a big one, yeah. It was hard to jump over him.
Yeah, those games didn't have much endings to them. I remember the first real ending I saw in a video game was Super Mario Brothers 2.
That was a good one. It was
I love that ending.
You remember how it was set up? Even the selection menu at the beginning when you're picking the characters, Luigi or whatever. I like to pick Luigi in that game.
Wait a minute, was that the third one or the second one?
The second one, it was like you were on a stage. It was like a play, and the curtain would open, and you get to select your player. And it was the same at the end. After it ended, it was kind of like it was a play. The spotlight was on you, and I can't remember exactly what was said, but then the curtain closed.
It was a dream. It was all.
Was that what it was?
It was all a dream that Mario had, or something.
Was it Mario?
We'll have to roll it when we.
Yeah, I can't remember. I know now it was a dream, but what?
And it wasn't Bowser, and that's the thing I don't understand.
Bowser wasn't in the second one.
It was Wart. His name was Wart, and he's like a big toad guy. But you never saw him again.
Mm-mm. The second one was really underrated. That was really fun.
I thought so. It was one of my favorite ones.
Remember the quicksand? I used to love just letting it get me, and then sink and all the way up to like my eyes, and then jump out.
And it had the cactus guys and stuff.
Yeah, I'd be playing it by myself, and I'd be like, oh no, I'm sinking in the quicksand. It's up to my eyes, it's going to kill me. And then I'd jump out real quick.
Was that the second one that you could choose to be Toad, the princess, Luigi, or? Mm-hmm. Okay. Yeah,
that's the one where I picked Luigi. That's the one where you, for the first time, you could pick up the opponent's shells and stuff and throw them at people. Like when you bounce on a Koopa, then you could grab their shell and throw it. You couldn't do that in the first one. The third one was even better, but the second one was a lot of fun too.
I really liked the second one. I love the ending of it.
I liked it because it was so different from the first Mario Brothers.
But the third one you could actually ride Yoshi, right?
That was a classic. That's where you get different outfits. You can get like a frog
and suit.
Yeah, the raccoon suit to make it fly. That was legit amazing game.
Yeah, you'd get that feather and it would...
That leaf, yeah, it's like a little leaf.
Yeah, man.
Classics. Well, it's even like, you remember Zelda, right? Legend of Zelda, the first one. For the longest time, I thought the dude was Zelda. I kept forgetting that Zelda's the princess.
Yeah.
Link is the person. Right. He's the guy. But that first game was fun, but do you remember how different the second game was?
I didn't play a lot of Zelda.
I think it was like Return of Link or something. Zelda was fun. It was just a dungeon type game. You go different dungeons.
I was never, I know a lot of people like it. I was never a big fan of Zelda because it was like one of those story games, but you had to find your way, get the key.
You had to memorize.
Talk to this person.
I go up 2 screens, left 2 screens. You know what I mean? It was like up 2, left, down. You'd have to remember that. And it was, as a kid, when you're like 9, 10 years old, I don't want to remember that shit.
Right.
But you'd have to write it. I would have to write it down, like on a piece of paper, like up 2 screens, right down 1, then that's because then you'd have to figure out your way to get back. I never did beat the game, but it was fun. But the second one was a hell of a lot different. You remember what was it? The very first
Metroid,
Metal Gear.
Snake,
Solid Snake. You remember that? You
I never played the first one.
It was on Nintendo. It was fun. A lot different than the ones that we played on PlayStation.
I think the first one I ever played was the one where the general started getting crazy.
That was fun. You remember that?
Like the purple mushroom jumps over. And then it had that Asian girl with the big,
Now, which one was that? Because we both played that. I bought that.
It was awesome. You could smoke the cigs.
On PlayStation 2.
And be all stealthy.
Oh, man, that was awesome. Because at the end of the game, you're right.
Was it just Metal Gear Solid?
I think it was. But it was so much fun. And it was a long game. It had a good story. I remember that at the end, like when the general was talking to you, was starting to glitch out, and I was thinking something's happening to the actual game.
That's what I thought.
What's happening here? That's why it was so cool, man, because it was actually built in. Like, you thought your screen was fucking up. Because games back then, that's what would happen. They'd glitch and random shit would happen. And I was like, oh shit, my game's glitching out.
They started talking all this funky stuff about
the purple mushrooms in the sky or something. Just random stuff.
Yeah.
You're like, what is happening here? This is getting real trippy. And then the game would like shut down.
But then,
and then like a little pop-up screen would come up with text like it was an old Nintendo game all of a sudden. Like,
but wasn't there like an Asian girl in a bikini or something that all of a sudden popped up?
I don't remember that. I remember...
I'll have to look for that.
I remember there was like some girl in a bikini and a poster that you could find. Excuse me.
You
like,
ever noticed that?
A locker.
Like stuff from your childhood that maybe, say you saw a horror movie and it really scared you as a kid. When you go back and watch it as an adult, it's not the same way that you remember it as a child.
Not as scary?
Well, yeah, it's usually not as scary as it was back then, but also things that happen that you swear happened.
Yeah. Didn't happen.
It didn't happen, or they're different. Like, there was this movie called, it wasn't Dolls, but it was something about, like, one of those little ventriloquist puppets.
Oh.
And when I was a kid, it scared the shit out of me.
I remember that. I told you I had one.
I couldn't deal with that stuff.
I wanted it so bad.
No.
We had a good relationship for years, me and that guy. I called him Fred. I think that's what his name was, Fred. No, it wasn't. It was like Nelson or something. Because he had a name on the box when you would buy it. But I wanted one. And we had a good relationship. But I remember, I don't know, I watched that episode of Twilight Zone. I told you this, right? Remember the one with the ventriloquist doll? And we're talking old school black and white.
They'd put him in the closet and he wasn't there. Then he'd be over in the corner.
Never thought anything about it. But that very night that I had seen that, I'm sitting in my bed, asleep, and it's dark. And Nelson's sitting there on the dresser, and I'm down by my feet, and he's just sitting there staring at me, and I'm like in my bed looking at him. I'm like, I just kept thinking about that, like he's actually looking at me.
He knows.
And I was like, for the first time, his eyes are
plotting
open.
something.
Yeah, I was like, something's gonna happen. Something's gonna happen, and I would get nervous, so I got up and just threw like a T-shirt over him. I was like, you're not looking at me now. But then I'd wake up the next morning. I was like, I swear he moved. The T-shirt's not there. He put it.
Not there. He's over in the closet.
But then it progressed week after week. I got more and more paranoid of this, and it never bothered me before, but it did. I started getting paranoid, and my room was in the basement. I walked up to the top of the stairs, and I'm holding him. I'm like, you son of a, this is the end of you. And I threw him down the stairs. I don't know why I did. I threw him down the stairs, and he tumbled. And when he landed. His head, he landed just to where his head and his eyes were still looking directly at me. Like he did a tumble roll and then rolled, and like his head was like, eh. And I was like, never again. I think I threw him in the trash after that. I was like, he's possessed.
I'm coming back.
Well, I was like, after I threw him down the stairs, there's going to be payback. There's no way he's going to let me get away with that. Throwing a T-shirt over his face is one thing. Throwing him down the stairs.
Yeah, he's pissed.
I was like, I had to throw him away after that. I couldn't keep him.
You know what scared me on Twilight Zone was the talking Tina doll. Which was similar to that story.
I remember that one too.
Remember the dad would be walking down the stairs and it kept trying to kill the dad, I think. It would be sitting on the stairs and it'd be like, I'm talking Tina. And he'd look at him and he'd throw it. And it would just kept trying to kill this dad. I have to watch that again. I think he was
Some of those old episodes are good. Do you remember that one with the little alien invasion? But they look like toys because they're real tiny, but they're actually aliens from another planet.
No, I don't remember.
And their weapons were real. And they shoot you with lasers. And I remember the dad was like, "You're just a damn toy, get out of here." Then it would shoot him. He's like, that actually hurt. What is happening? And these little flying saucers would come. You don't remember that?
I don't remember that.
Oh, it was such a cool show, man.
I thought I saw them all. But...
It was the real old black and white ones. They looked like these little mechanical little 1950s toys that you wind up in the back, but they were actually aliens from invading, but that's the size that they were.
I remember the one where the aliens actually came and put the humans in like a zoo.
Yeah, that's a classic one. I remember that one.
I remember that.
They got a new Twilight Zone that came out. What's his name? Jordan Peele, the guy from Key and Peele. He did it. I guess it's supposed to be good.
Really?
Yeah. I haven't seen it.
I never did see his one.
I hadn't seen either one of his movies, but I heard they both were really good. Get Out.
Yeah.
And then Us came out a few months ago. There's like a doppelganger.
He's a movie-making
dude, he started making these movies and they're like critically acclaimed. They're getting raves. People are loving it.
Wow.
I was like, that's good for him because I like him. I'm like, but what's What's Key doing? I've seen him doing some like
Bro, I was pumping some
commercials,
gas at the gas station.
and he
He's like,
pops up doing like credit card commercials or something.
yeah, he's doing commercials and stuff.
He's funny too, but I was like, hey,
why didn't Jordan take him with him, you know?
Why isn't he in your movie, man? You know they're like best friends. It's like, I'd like to see him be in a movie. They did that movie together called Keanu.
Never saw that.
That was pretty good. About his dog named Keanu.
Yeah,
They told Keanu Reeves about that, and he was like, oh, that's wacky. That's so he said about it. They asked him, like, did you know Key and Peele? He's like, I like those guys. Those guys are funny. You know, they did a movie, and they named their dog after you, Keanu. And he's like, oh, that's wacky. He's a good dude. Dude's worth like $300 million. You never know it.
No, seems like a down-to-earth dude.
Totally down to earth. I'd love to hang out with that guy. Let me find this story I was going to talk to you about.
Well, you're talking about Twilight Zone. Remember the old Twilight Zone movie? It was in color, and it had Dan Aykroyd as like, kind of like...
Oh, yeah. That was like, wait a minute.
I love that movie, man. Twilight Zone the movie is what it was.
Was that the one with John Lithgow on the plane and the creature was on the wing?
Yeah. And you remember that's a moment like when I was saying when something's scary from your childhood.
That's scary. That thing scared me. That whole story scared me.
What scared me in that was when, and I don't even know why, but at the time Dan Aykroyd was like, he picked up that, I think it was a hitchhiker, and he's like, you want to see something really scary? Mm-hmm. And then he turns over.
Rips his face off.
And when I was a kid, it scared the shit out of me. But I looked it back up on YouTube, and I'm like, well, that's just a damn late.
But you got to think, when we were young, some of that stuff we would watch, especially in the 80s, when the ratings were a little bit up and down.
Yeah.
I love Raiders of the Lost Ark. It's awesome. I love all the Indiana Jones movies. That's still probably my favorite. But I remember watching that in the theater. And you know at the end when they open the Ark of the Covenant? And Indiana and Marion, they close their eyes. He tells her, don't open your eyes no matter what you hear. Keep your eyes closed. So he knew, but everybody else, all the Nazis are looking at it. And then their fucking faces just melt. Not only do they melt, the skin melts, and then you see blood, and then it goes down to the bone. Yeah. And they're all like, ah! And it's happening to all of them. That stuck with me for a long time. And it came back to relevance for me because my nephew, he watched it about 2 years ago, and he was about 10. That's probably about the same age we saw it.
Yeah.
And that's the same thing. He said he had nightmares. He said it was a good movie, but he said that part gave him nightmares.
Wow.
My sister was like, I can't believe that was rated PG. And I was like, well, actually, that movie is the reason they created PG-13 was because of that movie.
Really?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Because before it was just G, PG, and R. The Raiders of the Lost Ark came out and they're like, this is definitely not PG, but it's definitely not R. But it's like they created the PG-13 because of Indiana Jones, yeah.
Oh, the rating systems are really messed up back in the day.
Well, like, you even watch little things like Gremlins. I mean, that's a good movie, but...
I tried showing that to my daughter, like, when she was probably 4 or something.
Way too
young. And because the way I remember it, I was like, oh, yeah.
Me too.
Gremlins.
Fun. But then you forget that there's some... They're eating people. Those gremlins eat people, and
they threw
one
them
gets
in
a
blender.
And one gets blown up in a microwave.
And after that scene, my daughter was just looking at it like, and I was like, oh, we can't watch this. I don't know why, because like when I was a kid, it didn't seem like it affected me like that.
I think we were in a different era because we grew up on that in the 80s. Those types of movies, we'd see them early, like Indiana Jones, Gremlins, Goonies, even.
Yeah. Well,
like T-Wolf. Shit, man, that was PG, and
I think we've talked about that before. Yeah, with the dick nose and all that stuff, drinking.
They were underage drinking and driving,
standing on top of the van.
Yeah, smoking weed.
Yeah,
doing all that, and they're teenagers, and talking about sex. That movie was definitely not PG.
One of the movies that really freaked me out, and I watched a lot of movies I probably shouldn't have when I was a kid. A lot of horror movies for some reason.
I did because of my older sister, Tiana. She's 4 years older than me.
Yeah.
So when she started getting into like Nightmare on Elm Street, Friday the 13th, it would interest me. And of course, Trisha, she was my twin. She was still to this day hates horror and wanted nothing to do with it. But me, I'm a man. I'll watch this shit. Give me that. Scared the hell out of me too. I remember the first time I saw.
Anymore.
They don't now, but I remember the first time I saw Nightmare on Elm Street, the very first one with Freddy. Now everybody knew who I knew of Freddy. I knew what he looked like. Yeah. But I had never watched the movie. Didn't really know the backstory or why he would be able to get in your dreams. But it terrified me. That was scary, man.
That was Johnny Depp.
Johnny Depp. I will never forget that because he got sucked into that bed. And you remember all that blood? Just so much blood coming back out like a huge fountain of blood. It's hitting the ceiling and going everywhere. And I'm like, oh my gosh. He had enough blood for 10 men in his body. Johnny Depp. Yeah, I think that was his first movie. He was already like 30.
I tell you, zombies used to scare the shit out of me when I was a kid. Not anymore.
They never scared me. That was the one thing that I never was scared of.
That was, and you know what did it was Return of the Living Dead.
Was that the one where they chained him up?
That tar zombie in the basement. That thing scared the hell out of me.
That did scare me too.
And what scared me the most is when you first start watching it, it said based on a true story.
Yeah.
Well, that's just something they threw in there, more than likely, just to
get but when you're younger, you read that and you're like, oh my gosh.
And I started thinking, like, something really happened.
Well, it's like Star Wars. You see a long time ago in a galaxy far, far away. I'm like, it's true. It just is not our galaxy, and it happened a long time ago. But yeah, sometimes they would put, based on a true story on certain movies. You're like, what?
Well, I shouldn't have been watching that at my age. I don't know. I was probably like, oh my God, I was probably like 8 or 9, and I shouldn't have been watching. I might have been a little bit older.
But you remember sometime, I didn't grow up with cable. I didn't get cable until I was older, teenager. But we didn't have cable. But sometimes they would show those movies on like a Saturday matinee.
Yeah.
And then I'm sure they edited out some stuff, but I watched, I think that's the first time I ever saw The Thing.
That's your favorite, isn't it?
My absolute favorite horror movie. And it holds up to this day. It's still good. Scary, too. And man, those special effects, they're all practical.
That is
Stan
good.
Winston, right? He's the guy that did all them.
Stan Winston.
He did created what the Terminator looked like and the Predator. He's the...
Oh, I don't know, man. Is it Sam Raimi?
Sam Raimi is the Army of Darkness director. He's the guy that gave Bruce Campbell the chin himself, his career. But yeah, The Thing, I remember watching that on TV, like regular TV, like Channel 4 matinee, and I was riveted. And they didn't cut out a whole lot. I mean, I'm sure they cut out some, but I remember there's so many gross parts in that, but it's kind of cool how they do it. Because, The Thing is he gets in somebody's body and you don't know who it is. I remember one time, one of the guys, he was having a heart attack or something, or they thought he was, so they go up with these defibrillators on his chest to, shock him, but as soon as they put his hands on his chest to shock him, his chest becomes a big open mouth with teeth, and it just chomps down on this guy's hands and just eats his hands. Like, you remember that part?
I don't remember.
Oh, it was gross, but it was cool how it happened.
Wasn't that at the end, like not at the end, but that thing had transformed and it was like
everybody.
It was just like a big mass of body parts.
Yeah, when they set it on fire, when it comes out, it's got all these tentacles, but it has like 2 or 3 different heads of the other people that he's shape-shifted into, and it's screeching, like, and it had a dog head because he went into a dog at one point.
Jesus.
Yeah, and then it ends with just 2 guys left. What's his name? Of course, Kurt Russell's character and Keith David, the guy from They Live. They were the only 2 left. And remember, they're like, you're the one. And they said, no, you are. They're kind of like, well, we'll just sit here and wait. Because they knew the next day, either they're going to die or they're going to have to know who the alien is. So that's how the movie ended. They both just were sitting there in the cold waiting for sunrise to come up. And I was like, damn, that's John Carpenter for you, man, and his endings. Like, remember They Live? Spoiler alert, Roddy Piper, the best character, the main character, gets killed. He sacrifices himself, but still.
He saves the world.
He saved the world.
He shot that satellite that kept disguising him as people. Remember that? Because at the end,
that guy was having sex with that woman. He's like,
what's the matter, baby?
Yeah, she's like screams and runs away. He's like, what's the matter? All gross looking.
That was a brilliant movie. Not really a lot of dialogue for the lead character.
But it still had one of the best fights in movie history. And I remember watching it. I watched it a long time ago. I've seen it multiple times. It's still one of my favorites. But I was watching it with Clint Vanessa. It's the first time they saw it. And they liked it, but I remember that's the first thing they commented on was how long that fight was.
That was great.
They're like, that fight's so long. And to me, I was like, I don't care. That was like an actual wrestling match almost in a movie. I mean, they were going at it. I loved it.
He said, put these glasses on.
Put these glasses
Put them on! And he's like, listen, you crazy mother.
He tried to kick him in the balls. He was like, "You dirty mother!" And he got hit right in the face.
That guy's done a lot of voiceovers.
Keith David, yeah. He did. He was the general in. He never did get to play Mass Effect, but he was a general in the Mass Effect trilogy. Perfect casting.
He's a cool dude.
He got a great voice. Yeah, he seems like a cool dude. Keith David. He's got 2 first names.
It probably is not his real name.
Why would you choose that, though? You think it would be anything other than 2? That's like...
Well, it seems like all those people change their names, though.
Like Kevin James.
Kevin James, though, like, I heard that's not his real name.
I don't know why you'd pick 2 first names for both names. That's like being Mike Scott. I knew a Joe Scott. That's 2 first names. He was a good guy. Oh, Joey Scott.
I tell you, when I remember as a kid, I shouldn't have been watching it. We were at my grandparents' house, and it was back to back. It was Children of the Corn.
Oh, they were showing the double feature.
Yeah, and then it was Poltergeist.
Ooh, both.
Poltergeist scared the shit out of me.
I watched it with my parents, but they didn't know.
No, mine didn't either.
It was the same with like Watership Down. My parents just wouldn't. They didn't know back then. There's no ahead of time reviews and internet and all that. So we would just watch it, and I remember Poltergeist especially scared the shit out of me.
I just remember
because it was so scary. The clown and the tree.
The tree scared, yeah.
Because it was eating that kid. You remember? Putting him in his. I was like, no. And I had trees outside of my house, and I was like, I'd never looked at them the same again.
Yeah.
I was like, cut them down.
Get them out of here. They're gonna eat me.
I'm Saruman. Get them trees out of here.
Well, and even at the end when they're in that pool. It was supposed to be like a pool, I think, but it was like a pit, and all those bodies. Like,
that's where the Indians were buried.
Yeah.
And underneath the pool. Yeah, and all that stuff started coming out. It was like zombies and skeleton bones
and Children of the Corn. What got me on that I almost wanted to...
creepy kids.
What was his name? Was it Elijah? Elias? Well,
Elias,
that was his name. He was a wild-looking person. He was like a kid, but he was a man. I don't know, maybe he had I don't know, I don't want to say nothing about him, but remember that? He came back and he's like, he wants you too, Malachi. Remember that?
Yeah.
That scared the shit.
I hated Children of the Corn, because it was very scary.
Scared the hell out of me when he said that, because the whole time he's like, no, the man who walks beyond the rose. But then when he comes back, he's like, he wants you too, Malachi. I was like, holy shit, that dude grew some balls down in hell. You know, like, what the hell? Yeah, man. Old horror movies.
Do you remember there was one, I think we've talked about it throughout the years, but I forget. Because again, I watched it like on a Saturday or Sunday. They were showing on Channel 4. And it scared me, but I didn't really know what was going on. But I just remember there were these younger children, but they had white eyes, sharp teeth, pointy ears, no bald. They were bald. There were some kind of creatures. And they were hiding in like the corners of the attic, and they would come down and kill people. And I can't remember. I think you said they were the people under the stairs, but I don't know if
there was a movie called The People Under the Stairs.
Yeah, but I don't know if it was that one. I just remember they were creepy looking. You know, they're real light skinned. Their eyes were white, or maybe their eyes were black, but they had sharp teeth and bald head, kind of pointy ears.
I don't remember.
They would just pounce on people. Me neither, but it scared the hell out of me. Ooh, not a horror movie, but some scary parts. Beastmaster. Remember that movie?
I think Beastmaster made me cry, bro. Wasn't that the one with the ferrets?
He had the 2 ferrets, his best friend. One of them gets killed. Yeah, the other one lived. But it was sad. But I remember, man, there was now he was friends with these beasts. I don't know what they were. It's some kind of reptilian thing. And they had these big wings. But they would wrap around the bad guys, and all of a sudden you'd see underneath them like slime and stuff, and they would just turn into bones.
It's been so
you
long
remember
since
that?
I've
He'd
seen it,
wrap the stuff around him, and then you'd hear this sound like an ass. I don't know what was happening because you couldn't see inside of his wings, but you could see the bottom of his feet, and you'd see blood and shit dripping. All of a sudden, slime was coming out, and then he'd open his wings up, and he'd turn into a pile of bones. It's like he just disintegrated this guy. But that shit scared the hell out of me, because I was like, even though he was a good guy, he was doing it to a bad guy, but I was like, that's scary. Why would he do that? But the Beastmaster, that was a good movie.
Was that the same guy? No, it wasn't the same guy that played in Highlander.
No, the guy that was in Beastmaster, I forget his name, but he was in V. He was the main guy in V, the good guy in V.
Yeah.
I remember he had a nice physique. They
V.
had no shortage of body oil out there in that because he was glistening the whole movie.
Honestly, I remember V was like a series.
Very good.
The only thing I remember about it that scared the hell out of me when I was a kid was that alien baby.
Mm-hmm.
That woman gave birth to that alien baby. I thought that was just kind of freaky.
Well, they were scary when they actually took their faces off and you saw their true reptilian form. They were pretty scary. You remember they would eat birds.
Oh, God, no, I don't remember.
There was one,
ago.
It was Robert Englund. He plays Freddy. He was in V, and he was one of the reptilians, but he was the nice one. He was the guy that was trying to help the humans. And he didn't want to eat birds, so instead, I don't know what, he would eat mice.
Like mice are
like,
better than birds.
That's it was a funny thing. I refuse to eat birds, but I'll eat mice. Because he would I remember he'd be setting cheese out and trying to catch mice and eating them up. V was a crazy show, man. I think it only lasted for like one season.
Yeah, I remember my parents would watch it. I just remember that chick had that alien baby, and that freaked me out.
Yeah, it was creepy. That was probably like one of the last episodes.
I think we should probably end it on that.
End it.
It's been fun.
But has it been real fun?
I think so.
Yes, it has been. That's why I said.
Tune into the next one.
The next one.
And if you'd be so kind to hit the subscribe button.
T's and P's to y'all.
That's right.
That's thoughts and prayers. T's and P's.
Take care, all. We'll see you on the next one.
On the flip.
Big Boss here. Enter the track on the bridge to the right. Over. An anemone or clematis plant's juice can cause a rash. When pruning them, it's a good idea to wear gloves. I was a North American fall webworm in my past life. Ah, those were the good old days. What were you in your former life? I hear it's amazing when the famous purple stuffed worm in Flapjaw Space with the tuning fork does a raw blink on Harry Carey Rock. I need scissors. 61.